Man, there isn't much that brings a smile to my face when I watch anything with the WWE logo on it, except on Wednesday nights. Tonight, I genuinely fucking smiled, because everything that we discussed here and everything that's concerning Johnny Gargano and the greatest sports entertainer of all time, the greatest NXT champion of all time, Tommaso Ciampa, is coming to fruition. It is slowly becoming a reality. And I smiled from ear to ear, and it was just a beautiful thing, man. It was just a beautiful thing. DIY has, I guess, at least for tonight, we can speculate on where they go from here, but at least for tonight, in the closing segments of NXT, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa have become one once again. And I think that's fucking fantastic, man. What a steel cage match on NXT. And it makes me wonder, how difficult is it to write weekly television that is actually interesting, Mr. McMahon? NXT was fantastic tonight. We're going to go everything that happened, plus the debut of the two of the four horsewomen that we mentioned, Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir. She was not there, Shayna Baszler was not there to accompany them to the ring. They were out there alone. We're going to go over and dissect their in-ring debut here on NXT. Plus, I got a few news and notes stemming from Monday Night Raw and the 6 call-ups that we're about to see on the main roster. And I have news on Nick Miller being released by NXT, or he actually asked for his release. We're going to go over that and the actual reason why TM61 is no more, man. Thank you guys so very much for watching me tonight on the NXT podcast. I am JD. If you guys have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. We are now 103,000 subscribers in, man. And it's amazing because I was thinking about it today, how we just literally hit. It's amazing, the growth on this channel, man. We just hit 100,000. It was on October 31st, the beginning of November. We hit 100,000, and here we are, pretty much a week from Christmas, and we are already over 103,000 subscribers, on our way to 104, man. Before WrestleMania, I'd love to be at 150. That is my ultimate goal, so we'll see what happens with that. But if you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications, so you guys know when I do indeed upload the podcast. Follow me on social media, man. Twitter is where you can find me. I tweet every day. I tweet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Sundays when there is a pay-per-view, plus other random shit during the week, gaming content, etc., etc. Follow me on Twitter, man. I'm on all week long at JD from NY206. It's also a great way to actually be informed of when I do upload new content to the channel, because every time I upload something, it gets pushed directly to Twitter, man. And if you guys want to support on Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. We got off the script early on Patreon. You guys are probably the only ones who get the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT podcasts in audio form. You cannot get that stuff anywhere else except for patreon.com. And I am bringing beer vlogs or beer reviews to my Patreon, man. I might mix in some music as well to fill you guys in on what I've been listening to lately, but all that stuff is coming to Patreon, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. So thank you guys so very much for all of that. Let's hit the news, man. I want to go over this Nick Miller situation because this actually happened last weekend when I was doing my job over at House of Glory for their 8-year anniversary show. If you guys missed that match that we talked about all week, we debuted it, we premiered it today on YouTube. Cashflow Ken Broadway versus Murdered by Kicks, but on this night he was unchained. Matt Travis inside of a steel cage one of the most barbaric endings to a steel cage match that you will see all year happened in that match, man. So make sure you guys go and check that out. I'm going to leave you a link in the annotation so you guys can go check that out. During the House of Glory show, I found out while I was in the NYC arena that Nick Miller of TM61, or The Mighty, has been released from NXT. Now, TM61 is no more. Nick Miller is gone. Shane Thorne, on the other hand, is still employed by WWE. Now, Dave Meltzer reports that Nick Miller and his wife, who still lives in Australia, had a child in August, and instead of coming back to the USA, he decided to stay in Australia with his family. Now, it couldn't have been an easy decision for Nick Miller to make. It's either his career or his wife and his family. So, I don't even want to even get into that, about what he was thinking about that. That had to be a heartbreaking decision to make because this was his life. But his wife and his child obviously have to come first. It was said that the door is still open for Nick Miller to return to the WWE, and at this point, his former partner Shane Thorne will be gearing up for a singles run. They might repackage him. They might find a new tag team partner for him. I don't know. But I was under the assumption that, well, Nick Miller is not there. I would figure Shane Thorne would actually be released as well. They did that with the Ely brothers. If you guys remember them, they released one of the Ely brothers, and then somehow they just let one of the other ones, the other guys, the other Ely brother, he remained on the roster for about a good 4 or 5 months before they actually released him as well. And I didn't really understand that. One is not going to be the same without the other. And I kind of feel it's the same thing here with Nick Miller and Shane Thorne. But Shane Thorne, according to Meltzer, is going to be gearing up for a singles run. They could also find him, like I said, a new tag team partner. Now, both Shane Thorne and Nick Miller had great careers in the Australian indie wrestling scene. It's likely that Nick Miller will continue to wrestle there, and it wouldn't be surprising if we hear about his career post-WWE. Now, WWE has indeed expressed interest in putting a performance center and NXT product out of Australia. Therefore, both Thorne and Miller could have played key roles in NXT Australia in case that does become a reality. Now, you're probably wondering, why are they going to put a performance center in Australia? WWE has a lot of Australian talent right now signed under contract. Nick Miller and Shane Thorne were two of them. Tony Storm, New Zealand. I'm going to kind of lump them into the same area, okay? So don't nail me on my my geographic fucking, whereabouts here. So you got Nick Miller and Shane Thorne, obviously, Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai. So they got a lot of, talent from that portion of the world. So, and a lot of that talent is either promising WWE, standouts. They're going to have major WWE careers. So you can see why WWE wants to open up a performance center down there. And there were rumors that Nick Miller and Shane Thorne were actually going to be advocates for that, or trainers down at that PC if that did become a reality. But as far as we know, he made the right decision. The Mighty really weren't doing much of anything in NXT. I felt like they were definitely under the radar, and they weren't really getting the rub that I think a lot of people expected them to get. Listen, they were talented. It's just they didn't really come off as anything major. It felt like they were a decent tag team, but easily forgettable at the same time. So, the door is still open. He made the best life decision for himself right now. He's got to be there for his wife and his kid. He's still going to be wrestling in Australia. It's not like he's going to not wrestle ever again. Shane Thorne, I feel bad for Shane Thorne, who now is going to have this brand new world open to him, full of uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Shane Thorne. WWE, they could eventually release him if they don't find anything special about him in a singles run, or if they can't come up with anything for him, if he doesn't get over on his own. So it's a very sticky situation with Shane Thorne. But, Nick Miller, like I said, made the right career path, and he's got to do what he's got to do. So we'll see what happens. But the door is still open for his return. So the Mighty is no more in NXT. Now, if you guys watch Monday Night Raw, which apparently there are people within WWE who wonder why anybody watches the show, we'll talk about that on Friday. For everybody saying that, it was a good show. But then you got WWE employees asking the same question. Why anybody watches this show is beyond me. We'll talk about it on Friday. But we have news on WWE bringing up 6 new superstars from NXT to both Raw and SmackDown. We got Lacey Evans, we got Lars Sullivan, we have EC3, Heavy Machinery, both Tucker Knight and Otis Dojovic, and we have Nikki Cross. Now, we don't know where they're going to end up. We don't know what role they're going to play, but it is rumored that WWE fast-tracked all of the NXT talent because they wanted to legitimately give off the impression that they were shaking things up. And they really didn't do that with the superstars that they brought up. Now, they have brought up these superstars in hopes that you find new interest in WWE. The fact that they brought up these 6 characters is exactly that. They wanted these specific individuals brought up from NXT because they were more character-driven than anything else. Nikki Cross is a very character-driven character. The team of Heavy Machinery is very out there. They're fun. They're very character-driven. Otis is very entertaining, full of charisma. Tucker Knight is more so not as over as Otis is as far as charisma goes, but he is, I guess, a nice complementary piece to Otis Dojovic, right? Nikki Cross is a character. Heavy Machinery, characters. Lacey Evans is very character-driven with her woman's right and that very old-school feel. EC3, very character-driven, very nonchalant, very cocky. You know, he's better than everybody. He's the 1%er, right? And then we got Lars Sullivan, who is just a freak of nature. They're billing him as the freak. They're 6 character-driven personalities that WWE wants to experiment with on the main roster. They're not really must-see acts, but WWE wanted a more character-driven agenda with this set of call-ups right now for the main roster. They were supposed to be called up before the Royal Rumble, or after the Royal Rumble, or around the Royal Rumble. But WWE fast-tracked that because they felt like they needed to show the fans that change was indeed happening. Now, calling up these individuals does not facilitate change. Bringing up these characters is actually going to be something that backfires with WWE because they never learned their lesson from what they did previously. How many NXT talents have been brought up? Some of them make it to the main roster, and some of them have a decent run. Kevin Owens, I would say Nakamura, right? But guys like Tyler Breeze and Bo Dallas, you know, you could add Kevin Owens into that mix. Sami Zayn, maybe. They had decent runs. But Bo Dallas and Tyler Breeze, then you got The Ascension, and guys like that. We all know. I don't need to go over Andrade Cien Almas. I'm lumping him into that because it's criminal how you bring up Andrade Cien Almas and you don't immediately have a plan for someone like that. So WWE wanted to fast track these guys because they wanted to facilitate change, but you know, that's not the change that we're looking for. Making Raw and SmackDown better is not going to happen by bringing up guys like EC3 or Heavy Machinery. You know, a lot of these individuals, a lot of these characters are going to fall flat on their face on the main roster. I don't have any faith in WWE treating Heavy Machinery like something fun, something that could get over. They're a big man tag team. I mean, look at the Ascension. Why would anybody have any faith in... Look at Sanity. Why would WWE bring these guys up and legitimately use them when they haven't used Sanity, they haven't used the Club, they haven't used the Ascension? Who is sitting at home listening to me thinking that, oh yeah, WWE is going to push Heavy Machinery? Or how is anybody sitting at home thinking that WWE is somehow miraculously going to change over and turn over a new leaf? How could you have any faith in WWE pushing tag teams on the main roster? It's not going to happen. I don't understand this move. You have tag teams on the main roster right now that you haven't used. The Club hasn't been used since August, since SummerSlam. All of a sudden, we're going to hang our hats on Heavy Machinery? You have to be out of your fucking mind. It's ridiculous to even think about. But WWE, here they are. They fast-tracked all these Royal Rumble debuts for now because they want to, I guess, troll you that change is coming. McMahon trolled everybody with what he said on Monday. There's no change. There's no change coming. This is the change that they think is going to get over with the public. The people who watch this show. Oh, look, WWE is changing. They're bringing up new talent. They're bringing up fresh faces. We're going to see fresh matchups. How long before these individuals, outside Lars Sullivan, because we all know that he's getting a rocket pack strapped to him, maybe EC3, how long before every single one of them becomes a club or an Andrade Cien Almas or an Ascension? How long? It's going to happen. What they do with Bobby Roode, of all people that you called up from NXT and Almas, of all people, those two guys, right? Former NXT champions. They didn't have some run-of-the-mill reign as NXT champion. These were legitimate fucking title reigns that people were excited about. Bobby Roode developed this whole new character down in NXT. What did they do with him? Within 2 months, the guy was buried. Buried. Andrade? He was on SmackDown Live, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a regular character on SmackDown Live. The guy's been on and off all year. To a point where it's been months since we've seen him. They trolled you. To the casual, blithering idiot, yeah, it's changed because, oh, look at this. WWE, they got new characters on TV. There's real change. Vince McMahon is doing a good job. No, you fucking idiot. There's no change. The change is not going to happen with 6 call-ups from NXT. And people are wondering, why didn't they bring up Undisputed Era? Why didn't they bring up Ricochet? Why didn't they bring up Velveteen Dream? Why? Do you really need me to give you the answer of why they didn't call them up? Good. Good. Nobody else on that NXT roster deserves to be on the main roster. Not because they're not talented or deserving enough to be on the main roster. Velveteen Dream could main event any pay-per-view that you put him on all year. Same with Ricochet, same with Adam Cole. But why would you want these guys to suffer the same fate? Could you imagine what WWE would do to a 22-year-old Velveteen Dream? You have to be fucking kidding me if you want to see him on the main roster right now. Out of your mind. Retarded. Don't get it. But that's why they brought up all those guys. That's why they facilitated all those debuts. So, we'll see what happens. I have absolutely no faith in WWE doing anything right by anybody from NXT. I have said this for years. Anybody that they bring up from NXT, I feel like is I don't want to say WWE doesn't think that they're talented. It's just like, they're all talented. WWE is signing these guys' paychecks. Vince McMahon is signing his name to their checks. So clearly he approves of whatever's going on down there. Triple H, take over the developmental and give me new talent. Make sure the future is good. But when they get to the main roster, it's like Vince McMahon turns into Mr. Burns. Now you're mine. Right? We didn't come up with this character, and, we didn't really train you and develop you for what is to come on the main roster. All you know is what's going on down there. Now we're going to change you. We're going to change everything that you learned from everybody down there to go about it and do what I need you to do. Do it my way, or you're not going to fucking have a job here. And I find that they are jealous of what happens down in NXT because it's not something that the main roster has a hand in. I mean, Triple H even said it himself. Vince McMahon doesn't even watch NXT. That's why. If Vince McMahon doesn't know what's going on, if he doesn't have his finger on what's going on down there, or none of his ideas are going on down there, he's going to take whatever's down there and change it because it's not his. It's not his. He feels like, oh, look at these guys. Better than me. Everybody's talking about NXT. I'll show them. Some internal bullshit politics. It's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on from that. I could talk about that all fucking day. Speaking of the Velveteen Dream was on Monday Night Raw, not literally, thank God, but he was on Twitter during Monday Night Raw, and he was lobbying for fans to get a hold of WWE to call up the Velveteen Dream to the main roster. But he may be in trouble for asking fans to spam WWE. I don't know if he's in trouble, but I could really see it being a way of him using social media to, I guess, kind of come out of character, or he was really belligerent on Monday night. It really didn't fit what he is or who he is, and I'm guessing that WWE really didn't like all the spam from him because it just enraged or riled up people on social media for something that really wasn't going to happen anyway. So Velveteen Dream may have found himself in some hot water with WWE after he encouraged fans to spam at WWE on Twitter this past Monday. Now, they announced, obviously I just went over it, six NXT developmental talents that will be making their debuts on Raw or SmackDown in the coming weeks. Dream's name was not mentioned as one of those talents, and the NXT superstar took to Twitter to encourage fans to spam the company on Twitter. And those tweets, which I will read to you right now, have all been deleted. Now, I'm not sure if this is Dream deleting them on his own volition, knowing that he's not getting called up, or if this was WWE or Triple H or people in NXT, his bosses down at Full Sail or the Performance Center, asking him to delete those tweets. I am going to assume it's maybe a little bit of both. But I don't think Velveteen Dream is in trouble, man. You know, he's young. He didn't say anything outlandish. He didn't throw people under the bus. He didn't go on a Twitter rant burying anybody. He was just putting a whole lot of stock in himself, which I don't really see as a bad thing. So he goes on to say, and I quote, "It's not his, quote-unquote, Vince's call to make. It's yours. So let your voices be heard. Hashtag call Dream up at WWE." And he continues to say, hashtag call Dream up. Spam at WWE and at WWE NXT, and let's see if they're really listening. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, Sesame Street, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, but the people who write Raw obviously live on Sesame Street. So I guess we can really make a nice little comparison between the two shows there. If you're entertaining, you're entertaining. He says, I don't need writers. And I don't need a lot of time. A superstar should bleed through your TV and not... This actually may be the tweet that got him in trouble. I don't need writers. I don't need a lot of time. A superstar should bleed through your TV and not when someone's producing it. Give me the red light and it's Dream on any night. So that's what he said on social media on Monday night during Raw. All of it got deleted. I think that could very well be the one that got him in trouble. I don't need a lot of time. I don't need writers. I don't need people producing me. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. I guess it kind of made the WWE look inferior. And he's pretty much saying that he's better than everybody because he doesn't need, producers and he doesn't need help. And he's got what a lot of people on the main roster don't have, charisma, and he's entertaining. That very well could be the tweet that got him in trouble, so he just pretty much did the good old tweet and delete on all three of those things. But I don't think he's necessarily in trouble. It's not like he's Leo Rush going on social media, on Twitter, throwing Emma under the bus when she got fired, and then he had a fucking lynch mob after him on social media. The entire WWE locker room fed him to the fucking wolves. Never mind throw him under the bus. They fed him to the fucking wolves. They did Leo Rush. It was ridiculous. So, that was that. I mean, I don't want Velveteen Dream to be called up. Stay where I even tweeted him during one of these. I don't know which one, but I even said, please stay where you are. Please. Don't go anywhere. You do not know what awaits you up there. They look at you, you'll be in fucking the New Day dancing with fucking Xavier Woods in no time flat. Either that or you end up like fucking Bo Dallas and you'll end up in Titus Catering. We don't want to see that. This guy's got all the talent in the world to main event any pay-per-view on the main roster. Grow, mature, continue to learn from Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom and Triple H and William Regal and everybody else doing their thing down there. Continue to learn. You're 22 years old. You are one of the best things that this company has in their possession right now. You do not need to go to the main roster right now. what is another year to you? What is another year to you? This is when WWE will be on Fox. You might have a bigger role than you even anticipated coming next year. And the current product is so fucking terrible right now. I don't know who willingly would be calling for Vince McMahon to call them up to the main roster. Why would you even want to be a part of what is going on right now? There are WWE employees who ask the same thing. The product is so terrible right now that they wonder why anyone watches it. And we're going to go over that. It's the third time I mentioned it because I fucking LOL'd when I read this story. We're going to go over that on Friday on Off the Script. Stay where you are. Let the dream continue on in NXT. Let everybody experience the dream in NXT. Don't worry about Monday Night Raw. They'll get the Purple Rainmaker soon enough. It's all the NXT news I have, man. NXT tonight, Full Sail, December 19th, 2018. Capped off by a fantastic steel cage match with Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano. Io Shirai in action teaming with Dakota Kai against the Horsewomen. Shayna Baszler was not there, but Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir had their debut match in the opening of this show. Now, I was wondering what the outcome would be. And the outcome was Io Shirai doing a beautiful moonsault. She actually got all of it instead of what we seen during the Mae Young Classic where she hit none of them. Beautiful moonsault on Marina Shafir for the 1-2-3, and that was pretty much it. So you got Dakota Kai and Io Shirai winning over the Horsewomen. Well, JD, they lost their debut match. So what? So what? Kyle O'Reilly lost his debut match. Bobby Fish lost his debut match, right? Look at where they are now. Leo Rush lost his debut match to Velveteen Dream. Where's he at now? Dominik Dijakovic lost his debut match on NXT to Ricochet, I believe. And WWE is now pushing him on their programming. Doesn't matter if they lost their debut match. Clearly, they need, and there still seems to be a lot of work that needs to be done with both Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke. Okay, they got promise, don't get me wrong, but they are not ready. They will not be ready tonight, tomorrow. They will not be ready by WrestleMania or SummerSlam even. It may be all year in which we need to see them in NXT. But I will say this. If WWE is even contemplating doing a horsewomen thing on the main roster with Marina, Jessamyn, Shayna, and Ronda, Survivor Series, the latest. That is it. Maybe they'll be ready by then. They didn't really have a stellar debut. I didn't expect them to have a stellar debut. All I heard was that they were coming along very nicely. And that's all we see. That's all we heard during these news reports. We didn't physically see them training. All we heard was that they're coming along even faster than Shayna, or just as fast as Ronda. I'm like, okay, we're not going to find out about how good they are until they're in the ring. And what I seen tonight was glimpses of them being on the same level as Shayna, but they're nowhere even close. Now, Marina could bump. She's got that down. But she's still green as grass. Jessamyn Duke, the one thing I liked about Jessamyn Duke is her intensity. I liked her facial expressions. And I liked when she had that headlock on Dakota Kai tonight. I liked her selling. I like that fierceness. I like that ferocity. And that's what we need to see. But other than that, she can move around. It's not like she's untrained. She can move around pretty well in the ring. She can run the ropes. She can't take a bump to save her life. Not yet, anyway. The bumps that she took didn't look really all that good. And there really wasn't anything special about either one of them yet. But I thought the same way about Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, just a year and a half ago, I was saying the same thing about Shayna Baszler. Now, she's probably my favorite thing as far as the females go in NXT. So, clearly, this is not going to be a situation that is going to come like that. We're all anticipating them to be brought up to speed because of how Ronda and Becky and Charlotte are building eventually towards the Horsewomen. You all know that this is where it's going. Once they get settled with themselves and they get all that shit out of their system, that's the next chapter of this storyline. But Shayna will then be introduced. Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir They got a lot of work to do. You're not going to put them in the ring when they're not ready with a major profile match. That's going to be the biggest women's match that WWE ever does when it happens. So you're not going to put them in there when they're not ready. They had glimpses of something good, both of them. But tonight, I don't really find it to be bothersome that they lost their debut match. Some of you might disagree with that because they're the Horsewomen or they're, associated with Shayna Baszler. I don't care. I don't care. You lost to Io Shirai and Dakota Kai. Who cares? Like, why would anybody hang their head on that? Or why would anybody be upset watching the show with that outcome? They're brand new. They're fresh meat. You're not going to go in there and beat Io Shirai on your opening match. Come on now. But they will get to where they need to be. This was a good sign of things to come. But they both definitely, obviously, clearly have work to do. Now, the one thing I do want to say on top of everything I said here, maybe some people are thinking that they shouldn't be in the ring if they're not really ready yet or they're not even close to being ready yet. But I can counter that with, you can only learn so much by beating up a dummy down at the PC in the ring. You can only learn so much by having a sparring partner down at the PC, down in Full Sail. This is actual learning. This is a huge learning experience for them. They're not going to get caught up to where they need to be if they're not physically in the ring, hearing the crowd, being in front of the crowd, being in front of the camera, walking down the aisle, having their own entrance. They came out to Shayna's music, by the way, so you know that they're not ready to be anywhere on NXT television. They're going to remain lackeys for Shayna. They came out to Shayna's music, so they don't even have their own identity yet. They're merely in Shayna's shadow. So you know that they're not ready just based on that alone. But the greatest amount of learning that's going to come with both Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir is if they're in the ring with women like Io Shirai and Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane. So that's the greatest lesson that they could ever have. There's only so much you could do down at the PC. So hopefully they take everything that they're learning in the ring and they're applying it night after night, week after week. Eventually by the summer, we'll evaluate where they are. And if they are in a major program, we'll evaluate where they are in the summer compared to the end of 2018. It's going to be a slow process. Shayna didn't come along all that quickly either. She was still green. I was always wondering if Shayna's going to get over, if she's ever going to, shed that MMA shtick that she has. She became one with her character. She lives that fucking character. And look how great she is for it. They need to do the same thing. So let's give them time. I expect big things from them. And like I said, being in the ring with women like Io and Kairi and Dakota Kai is going to be the best lesson of all. But it was, get them in there, get them just a taste of what's to come, and have them go under. That's all it was. Io with the moonsault off the top rope, the acai moonsault off the top rope. Boom, got it done. Pinned Marina Shafir 1, 2, 3. Matt Riddle defeated Punishment Martinez 2 weeks ago. And after the match, Cassius Ohno attacked Riddle from behind with a huge rolling elbow. Matt Riddle spoke to the media about Ohno knocking him out from behind. Riddle says he's not happy about it, but he understands after he beat Ohno in seconds at TakeOver. Riddle then dared Ohno to get in the ring with him again, and he promises to beat him again in 7 seconds. Dominik Dijakovic versus Aaron Mackey. Squash match to the last decimal point in that phrase, man. Dominik Dijakovic. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong. That's the way I pronounce it. But this was an absolute squash match. Feast your eyes is his catchphrase. All I'm thinking when I'm watching this guy is, man, wait till Vince McMahon sees this guy. This is a prototypical Vince McMahon type of guy. And I don't think he's going to need a lot of seasoning at all in NXT. If they wanted to call him, just like Drew McIntyre, if you want to call this guy up after 6 months and put him in front of Vince McMahon, I guarantee you Vince McMahon would feast his eyes and he would catch a fucking boner in that $5,000 suit of his. Guaranteed. This guy was very impressive. He was impressive in that one match that we seen with Ricochet not too long ago. But Aaron Mackey didn't stand the chance. He threw this guy around like a fucking dummy. He suplexed him halfway across the ring. And he won here with I would say a Lex Luger-like torture rack position. And then he dropped the guy right on his fucking knee, face first. And that was pretty much it. He was just asserting his size and his dominance and his martial art background. So that's what he did here. He came out wearing MMA-like trunks. And he had like an American flag. And he had like an eagle. So he's got this kind of MMA look or vibe to him. But he's going to be a big deal. And he's going to impress a lot of people, if not already. So, former Ring of Honor talent, signed to WWE. This is his first taste. They're pushing him going into 2019. He gets a very impressive win over Aaron Mackey. And these are what these squash matches are supposed to do. They're supposed to give you a glimpse of what they're about, their moveset, how well they move in the ring, how devastating their finishing move could be. That's what we've seen here. Perfect debut for Dominik Dijakovic. Heavy Machinery, next week, I believe, will be going up against the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Can't wait to see that. Bianca Belair. We have Mia Yim, Lacey Evans, who more than likely is not winning that match because she's getting called up now. And Io Shirai is the Fatal 4-Way next week for the number one contendership to Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Phoenix. Let's go, Bianca. That's what I'm going with there. As long as Io is not pinned, Bianca can pin Lacey Evans on the way out. Hopefully that's the way that they go about it. Heavy Machinery went against two local enhancement talents. I don't know who these guys are. They were very reminiscent of what you'd see in WWE 2K19 My Career with some fucking lame-ass creation for My Career. Two local guys, they got absolutely demolished by Heavy Machinery. Otis picked up both guys into a trash compactor-like move, their finishing move. Not only did he pick up one guy, he picked up both guys. That's how small these guys were, or that's how freakishly strong Otis Dojovic is. But the trash compactor with both guys up in a power slam position as Tucker Knight comes from behind with the huge splash. Can you imagine Otis and Tucker coming down, slamming themselves on top of you? My goodness. I think that alone deserves a payday. Heavy Machinery wins. They are ready for the Undisputed Era. In fact, Undisputed Era actually come out during this match, and they look on as both the teams yell at each other. Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly will face Heavy Machinery for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano in the main event steel cage match. Obviously, there is not enough room in Full Sail to hang the cage during the show. They physically had to construct the cage during the show. I like that, man. I like that aspect about it. That's just the old school kid in me. I love the look of this steel cage, by the way. It's kind of a mix of the new school and the old school. The WWE steel cages, man, I don't know what it is. It's not the same steel cages that they use in or maybe it is, I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking dumb and blind to the fact, but I love this steel cage. It's got that old school fence look, right? Or that new school fence look, and it's got the beams up top. There's enough beams up top, or enough room on the beams where you could legitimately sit up there, you can stand up there, you can climb up with no problem. I love this steel cage, man. Very, very nice looking steel cage. The match started with Aleister Black's introduction. Does his whole shtick, comes up from the casket, and he's walking down the aisle. Johnny Gargano is going to be introduced second, but lo and behold, the darkness of the arena quickly went away because Johnny Gargano said, fuck that, attacked him before the bell even rung. He didn't even allow Black to get into the ring. So he jumped from the crowd, or he came from the fucking mist. I don't know where he came, but Johnny Gargano attacked Aleister Black, and they started brawling on the outside. So, with the sneak attack, they're battling it out on the floor right in front of Grandma NXT, and that fucking big fat goon sitting front row with the glasses. That seems to be there every show. The loud guy who wants to get in everybody's face. So, elbows, punches, kicks. Black is tossed into the cage, and we are underway. They finally make their way into the cage. Gargano tries to escape immediately. Immediately. The first thing he does, as soon as the cage is locked and the door's closed, boom, he goes right to the top of the cage. He's trying to escape. Black pulls him back down, tosses him into the ring. Black with some kicks, goes for a second rope moonsault, lands on his feet, spinning back elbow, suplex, devastating suplex, by the way. Brainbuster, in fact. Beautiful. 2 count. Black is up on the top rope. He's trying to climb up. Gargano hits the ropes to crotch Black. So he had his, what did Morrow say? He had his bells jingled and jangled. Love Morrow, man. And then sends him right into the cage. Gargano swings away on Black, strikes in the corner. Black tries to fight out, gets reversed, and catapulted into the ring. They threw each other many, many times into the fenced steel of this steel cage. Black sends Gargano into the cage 4 times, multiple knees to the face, kip up, and a jumping knee to the face. Devastating, man. I love Aleister Black. Striking is fucking great. And how long before Michael Cole says, "Oh, the most devastating striker in all of WWE"? Wait for it. It's coming. Black heads up top, has 1 foot over the cage, and decides that, you know what? I'm not going to win this match. I'm going to go back into the ring, and Johnny hasn't been fully absolved of his sins. So he climbs up and then climbs back down. He leaps down from the top, gets caught, lands a pump kick, charges, and Gargano sends him into the cage. Super kick to Black's face. Gargano then climbs up and over the cage. Black grabs his foot. The two are fighting on the top rope. Very unprecarious position and situation. Gargano hits a... They're on the top rope. They got both of their hands on the cage, holding on. Gargano flips over and delivers a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope and nails Black. Black bounced fucking viciously on the mat. Holy shit chance. Well deserved for that move. I thought Black was fucking dead after that. So Gargano with a very close near fall. Crowd is, they're cheering for Black, but they're also chanting Johnny Wrestling. There was some faint Johnny Wrestling chants there. Both men back up. I don't know how, but they're both back up. Back and forth. Gargano hits a super kick. Black with a jumping knee. Follows it up with a big boot to the face. Gargano's near the door. Opens. Black lands another kick. Almost sends Gargano out of the cage. Black drags him in. But Johnny comes back into the cage. Hits an enziguri and tries to crawl out the door again. This time with Black dazed. So Black grabs him by his foot. Brings him back in the ring with a bunch of kicks. Looks for a moonsault off the second rope. Gargano follows and side Russian leg sweep right into the Gargano escape. They were on the top rope again. Another high spot move here. This time with a side Russian leg sweep. And he rolled right into the Gargano escape, man. Probably my favorite part of the entire match between Black and Johnny Gargano. Black won't give up. He's in the Gargano escape. He picks Gargano up. He's trying to break out of this thing. Tries to slam him into the cage. You can imagine how tired and beat up Aleister Black was at this point in the match to lift Gargano up from that move and slam him into the cage, man. That was very impressive. But Gargano doesn't have it. Goes right back to the Gargano escape. So Gargano has the Gargano escape applied. Black barely hanging on right now. Both men now back. Aleister Black eventually gets out of it. Both men now sitting on the top of the cage for a few seconds. Both men on the top of the cage. Both men back down into the ring, but they're on the top rope. Gargano headbutts. Morrow saying, "When have you ever seen Johnny Gargano do that?" Like, this is a new Johnny Gargano. Headbutts to Aleister Black. Tries to go for what I think was a super RKO or a super cutter off the top rope. But Black holds the cage and Gargano gets sent crashing down to the floor. Black comes off the top rope with a huge Meteora and a devastating German suplex for a 2 count. Black then lifts Gargano up with his foot, just like he did a takeover, trying to do the Black Mass. Gargano sends Black's leg over the second rope and kicks the rope over and over and over again, which couldn't feel good down below for Mr. Aleister Black. He won't be having any fun with Zelina Vega on this night after that. So Johnny Gargano then takes Aleister Black and lawn darts him into the metal partition, or the metal divider in between the cage. You got the fence, and then there's a little metal slit. He lawn darted him into that little metal middle part of the steel cage. And he then is now taunting Aleister Black, which at this point is not a good idea. "I absolve you of all your sins," says Johnny Gargano. He's mocking Aleister Black, just like Vince McMahon mocks us on Monday Night Raw. But Gargano gets a black mass, and both men are down. No cover made here. Both men are getting up slowly. Gargano's climbing up, and he's up over the cage, and Black is slowly climbing towards the door. So you got Johnny Gargano climbing up the cage on one side, Aleister Black trying to win the match on the other by going out the door. You got two men trying to win the match in two ways that you could possibly win it, okay? So Aleister Black is on his way out the door. All of a sudden, we hear commotion, and Tommaso Ciampa comes running down the ramp, pushes the referee out of the way, slams the door right in front of Aleister Black, right on top of his face. Johnny Gargano's still at the top of the cage. He all but won this match. He sees what's going on down below. Tommaso Ciampa is now in the ring with Aleister Black. All Johnny had to do was climb out over the top. His feet hit the floor, and he would have won the match. But what does Johnny do? Johnny says, "Fuck it. I am not going to have this happen. Who the fuck are you to interfere in my match?" He climbs back in, and he gets in the ring. Now, Tommaso Ciampa started to back away when Johnny started to come down. But if you guys go back and watch, the look, attention to detail here, the look that Tommaso Ciampa gave Johnny Gargano when he came back into the ring was absolutely fucking brilliant. That look said it all. I put my fork and knife down for the dinner I was eating. I was like this, like a little kid in front of my TV. I'm like rubbing my hands together. Let's see it. Let's see it. Aleister Black starts getting up. He's on his knees. Then Tommaso Ciampa is in one corner. He's doing this. He's motioning for meet them in the middle. DIY's finishing move, right? He got the super kick, a running knee combination by DIY back in the day. Champ is doing this. Gargano's like, he's like fucking loses his mind. What do I do? Do I do it? Do I not do it? It's like he's got the evil and the good angel on his shoulders. They got the black angel saying, do it, fuck him. And then you got the good angel saying, no, don't do it, man. This man is evil, man. Right? So Johnny says, fuck you, good angel. He flicks him off his shoulder. And Johnny says, all right, you want to do it? Let's do it. They deliver meet them in the middle on Aleister Black. And that was it. Ciampa, again, attention to detail, smiling from ear to ear, slithers out of the ring. He backs, he's eyes behind his head. He's backing out of the ring. He even closes the door and locks the door. That's it. Smiling. So, at this point, it's all but over. Johnny Gargano goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. And Johnny Gargano wins and beats Aleister Black inside this steel cage. Huge chance of DIY from the crowd. And that was it. Post-match, Gargano stares out towards Ciampa and then sits cross-legged in the ring like they used to do together, or like they did in their one match at the Cruiserweight Classic, the first ever Cruiserweight Classic, when they met in the first round on episode 4. Great main event of that show. They sat cross-legged and they hugged each other. He sat just like that, like they used to do after their matches. This was absolutely fucking brilliant. Absolutely. This was a great steel cage match. Fantastic steel cage match. The work that Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano do together, man, it is two masters of their craft, man. I don't think these two could ever have a bad match. This was brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. I'm thinking, I don't know how this is so difficult to do on the main roster. I mean, for the people, I read a comment today. Well, NXT is not going to appeal to the mainstream. What is there so difficult to appeal to the mainstream? It's two fucking guys, masters of their craft, showing you exactly how wrestling should be done. Who doesn't like two guys at the top of their game in a competitive wrestling match? I mean, what is there? There's characters that we care about. They're in a steel cage. Story is being told that's fucking absolutely brilliant between three guys that are at the top of their game right now. Probably the top of WWE. So when I hear shit like that, it's fucking ridiculous that I hear shit like that. This is what we need to start seeing on the main roster. Characters. Story. But this is exactly where it's going. This is exactly what I expected to happen. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are back. What happens? What happens now? Listen, I could envision what's going to happen. I don't know what's happening between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. This could be a one-night thing. This could be, Johnny contemplating, do I join Ciampa, who's at the top of his game right now? If I can't beat him, join him type mentality. Ciampa helped Johnny Gargano here against Black. Ciampa has helped Johnny. Now, Ciampa is going to come the closest he has ever came to losing that title on January 26th. And Johnny Gargano is going to save him by hook or by crook in that match. And he's going to return the favor. And they are going to be one again. And Johnny is going to abolish, with the help of Ciampa, Aleister Black, so he could focus on Ciampa by himself. That's where the story's going. But it's not going to show itself immediately. They're going to run rampant on NXT for a little bit. Ciampa thinks Johnny is the Johnny of old. He's finally conformed. He's finally back on the dark side. Fully. This time, completely. He's going to put his trust in Johnny. And then Johnny's going to start to slowly come out of it. He's going to start cheating. And he's going to start doing these evil things that Ciampa has done. He's going to start doing the same thing that Ciampa has done. And Ciampa's going to teach him how to win by any means. And he's just going to be a vile cunt. Right? That's what's going to happen. And then Johnny's eventually going to snap out of it. And we're going to get Johnny versus Ciampa at WrestleMania. And that is when, in the fourth match between these guys, is going to be, well, right now, if you want to include the Cruiserweight Classic, 5 matches, but the 4 in this huge story that's going on right now, the fourth match is going to be the last one for Johnny to finally capture the NXT Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn number 5, WrestleMania weekend. This was brilliant. I can't begin to tell you how I love this storyline. This is going to be absolutely epic come TakeOver Phoenix Royal Rumble weekend, man. I can't wait to see how it plays out, and I'm all in. I was all in. I never strayed. Even when Aleister Black got hurt, I never said, this is fucked. This is all going to be ruined. WWE brilliantly, masterfully righted the ship. Aleister Black was hurt. Fit right back into everything like a fucking glove. Like you put on a pair of socks in the morning, right? This guy just came right in, fit right into right when he had got injured, when he was just abandoned with everything, and they had to continue on without him. Fits right in seamlessly. And I can't wait to see what happens, man. That Ciampa Aleister Black match is going to be a fucking work of art in January. I can't wait to see what happens, man. But this was a great episode of NXT. We got the debut of Maria Shafir and Jessamine Duke. Like I said, a lot of work to be done. Io gets her first big win on NXT TV. Heavy Machinery and the Undisputed Era. And then the steel cage match here with Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black with DIY temporarily right now. We'll put a little asterisk next to it. Temporarily aligning again together to join forces and take care of Aleister Black here on NXT, man. Great episode. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. Let me know what you guys think of the news and rumors about Nick Miller and WWE bringing up everybody, fast-tracking those 6 individuals from NXT to facilitate change on Monday Night Raw. Meanwhile, there is really no change happening. It's just a facade by Vince McMahon to troll the fans and get people interested when there really isn't nothing behind what he wants to do. So let me know what you guys think about that. But thank you guys so much for joining me here on NXT. I will see you all with something tomorrow. I'm not sure what, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. You guys will get the audio podcast and the video podcast for you guys on Patreon. And if you guys want to support, please make sure you guys go get the JD Club, man. You got 4 hours to get the club, the JD Club shirt. After that, it's gone. Tonight is the last night, so get it. JD Club, Holiday 2018. Make sure you get it. 5 different colors. Bonfire.com. Link will be down in the top of the comments, pinned at the very top, man. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with whatever I got planned, and then Friday, as always, with Off the Script, episode 253, and part number 1 to start the weekend, man. Thank you guys so very much. I'm out of here, and I will see you all tomorrow right back here on the channel. Talk to you guys later.